Okay, here we have a hyperbola, and we want to graph it. And our center will be at the origin, because we just have x squared and y squared, with no numbers adding or subtracting from the x or the y. So our center is at the origin. And we have 3 squared and 2 squared. The 3 and the 2 will help us find the lengths of the transverse and the conjugate axes. The transverse axis will be determined by the 3, so we're going to go, what does that mean? We're going to start the center, go 3 units this way, right there. Start the center again, go 3 units that way. This will be the transverse axis, the axis that determines the vertices. And why did we go left and right? Because it's underneath the x. If it was underneath the y, it would go up and down. And over here, we have the 2. So we're going to go 2 units up and 2 units down from the center, because it's underneath the y. Fantastic. Now we're going to just draw a rectangle that will hit all those points. And this is, of course, not a part of the graph of the hyperbola, but it will help us determine the asymptotes of the hyperbola. So let's draw the asymptotes right now. The asymptotes are going to go through the edges of the rectangle. Here we go. That's the first asymptote. And the second asymptote pass right here. It's very important to practice these guys and graph a few hyperbolas. That's why we have done so many of these videos. Okay, so we have the hyperbolas, or I mean the asymptotes of the hyperbola. And right now, the vertices will be over here and over there, because the x squared is positive. If the x squared were to be negative, and the y were to be positive, then the vertices would be here and here. But that's not the case. So, the hyperbolas are going to look something like this. I'm going to just sketching them with this line. Like that. And on the other side as well. Like that. There you go. So the red lines are, of course, the hyperbolas. And the orange lines represent the asymptotes. So note that as the hyperbola progresses, it's going to get very, very close to the asymptotes on both sides. That way as well. However, it's never actually going to touch the asymptotes, of course. So let's just talk about some terminology now. This here is the transverse axis from here to there. And this is the conjugate axis. So that's the length of the conjugate axis. So the length of the transverse axis is 6, and the length of the conjugate axis is 4. That's it.